Hello and welcome. So today we are talking about the e.l.f. new Halo Glow Liquid Filter with, of course, Charlotte Tilbury's Hollywood Flawless Filter for a superstar youth glow. I have been a long-time fan of this product right here, pretty much ever since it launched. I primarily use it as a highlighter, but for both of these products, you can use it as a mix-in, a primer, a highlighter. This for me gives the ideal and pretty much only highlighter that I want to ever reach for, even if in the case that I want a highlighter at all even, it is just super smooth, seamless, glowy, a tiny bit of a sheen, but it mostly just kind of like becomes very much one with your skin and is not super perceivable as like a separate step of makeup, and I love that about this product. There are a lot of pros of this product, basically just around how easy to use it is, around its very flexible, thin and comfortable formulation that I think also apply to the new e.l.f. highlighter Halo Glow situation. So here I have the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter in the mini size, which before the e.l.f. one came along, I would always recommend this one if you're someone who uses this product as a highlighter. This bottle is $15 for 10 milliliters of product. No, that's a lie. For 5.5 milliliters of product, whereas the full size is $44 for 30 milliliters of product. The e.l.f. is $14 for just one full size, and it's a 31.5 milliliters of product. So no matter which way you cut it, this is a much better deal. And if you are someone who uses the Charlotte Tilbury product as like an all-over primer situation, or you mix it in really often, then that's even further reason for me to recommend this, because you'll just get so much more use out of it. So I have the shade 3 in this mini size, and the shade 2 Fair Light in the e.l.f. product. They're pretty comparable in depth, and I know that so here is the Charlotte Tilbury one in 3, and that looks mad peachy, and then this one looks kind of like, I don't know, maybe a little bit orange, but way more neutral than this peachy color, but nevertheless kind of blended on the skin. They give pretty much the same effect. I think that with either of these products, the shade range is not too big of a deal if what you're going for is just kind of like something that'll give you a nice glow. These are both very sheer. They add like a hint of coverage. I had this for a few days, and I've tested it out like a few ways against each other. The Charlotte Tilbury product is super beautiful. I find it lays really nicely over powder, which is something that's pretty important to me, because sometimes I'll want to use just like a powder blush or a powder bronzer, and I still want to be able to put this on and have no qualms, and not every like liquid cream highlighter can do that, but this one definitely can. The only con that I can really think of with this product is that it can sometimes pill up depending on what other products I use with it. I haven't really found any differences between these two in all the like scenarios where I've tested this. So let me go ahead and put it on for you today. I have powdered my face. I put powder bronzer on because I wanted to show the performance over powder, and I'll put the Charlotte Tilbury on this side of my face and just go ahead and tap it in with my fingers. I find that tapping in with fingers definitely gives you the most impact. If I use a sponge, then the sponge will kind of shear out the product even more, making any differences even less noticeable. But anyways, it just gives like a very velvety smooth imperceivable glow. You can't really see any like glitters, but there's a hint of shimmeriness. The color was kind of peachy on my hand, but like it doesn't really matter on my face as a highlighter. Pretty much all you can see is the glow. And then on this side of my face, I'm gonna pop the e.l.f. product in pretty much the same area and tap that in with my finger as well. And there you have it. Now I am fully glowy on my cheekbones and whatnot. Before there were other like alternative drugstore options, I was in a place where this was by far my favorite highlighter formulation, or like highlighter type, more so than something that gives like an actual noticeably metallic sheen, or something that like actually leaves a tacky, like emolliently Vaseline-y glowy finish. I loved how this kind of was thin and disappeared into nothing from a texture perspective, but still gave like a really nice lit from within glow, blended into everything, could apply over creams, over powders, over pretty much whatever, except for too much emollient skincare. That is like the one thing that will make it kind of pill up. But otherwise, I was a huge fan of this formula, and then felt that it was unique enough that it was kind of worth the price point, especially because they had this mini option. I was very eager to recommend this product. It's for a while now been like basically the only highlighter in my collection, but now that I've found some drugstore alternatives, I absolutely think they're 100% worth the money. Like, there's no reason to spring for the Hollywood Flawless filter anymore, because I found, like, you know, there's things that exist and work just as well at the drugstore price point, and namely this one is such an obvious alternative. And I've been like, with how I've been testing this out, I look at myself like really close up, because you really have to look close up to see any differences, and I can't notice anything that would like, if I was being super nitpicky, it's possible the e.l.f. one is like 2% more grainy, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury one is like a hint more smooth, but it's like whatever, it's very negligible. I saw this TikTok that was going over the ingredients in both of these products and saying that they're pretty vastly different, but how they feel and perform on my face is incredibly similar, so much so that like I don't think the differences are really worth distinguishing. The only thing that's really worth nitpicking about is the packaging, but this is like a solid glass bottle. It's essentially the same packaging that the Hollywood Flawless filter of the full size comes in, which is a glass bottle, plastic lid, and then one of these chunky doe foot applicators that like picks up a lot of product. It's like this, it's truly one of the most accurate dupes that I've come across for a while now, both in packaging, formulation, application, wear time. They both wear beautifully throughout the day, where they basically turn into a very thin layer. And then for me, because my skin is a bit glowy in general, I wear some more dewy formulations. I'm on tretinoin, so, and my skin gets oily throughout the day. A lot of the times, like, what this product gives me is the effect of if I've worn my makeup for a while and my oils have come through. So by the end of the day, like, everything kind of melts together in a way that looks super natural on either side, like regardless of which product I'm using, where you can kind of see a hint of that sheen. It kind of mixes nicely with my oils that have come through for the day, and then everything just looks like pretty glowy and great. On the topic of Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter dupes at the drugstore, the e.l.f. one is so obviously a dupe. It's very clear to see, but another one that is almost just as good is the Maybelline 4-in-1 Perfector. Obviously the biggest difference here is the packaging. It's in that like Maybelline twisty spongy top applicator, and it's kind of hard to like swatch out and see for you, but on the face it gives a very similar effect of like glassy, glowy, but like with a tint of a sheen, a shimmery sheen underneath that glowiness. I will say that the Maybelline 4-in-1 Perfector is a a little bit lower on the amount of like shimmer and a little bit higher on the amount of like glassy dewiness effect than these two right here. These two are very much neck and neck in terms of like the balance of dewy glassiness to shimmeriness underneath. That all kind of melts together into something that feels very, very, very seamless. But anyways, I'm a changed person now. There's basically no reason for me to go ahead and repurchase the Hollywood Flawless Filter in the full size for $44 when there are so many other affordable alternatives that perform just as beautifully and give me that exact like seamless highlighter effect that I really, really love. So I'm so excited that these options are out on the market. The e.l.f. one I would absolutely recommend. Right now they're still only available on the e.l.f. website, but I'm sure that'll come around to showing up in Ulta's and CVS's hopefully, so it'll be even more accessible. This is an awesome, awesome release. Great job, e.l.f. So many hits from e.l.f. lately. In any case, that's all I have. Highly recommend not buying the Charlotte Hollywood's Flawless Filter. I'm glad that they were innovative and brought out a new type of product, but now they are just as good for a much lower price point. So let me know if you have any questions, if you've tried any of these out, and thanks so much for watching as always.